Broads Media.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. Just when I thought I was turning the corner and I was in love with Philly sports again and we were riding a high, I get hit with Bryce Harper has some back stiffness, and it's not good news. I'm not going to pretend like it doesn't matter. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm not reaching panic level to the point where I think this season is now destroyed, okay? This isn't Garrett Cole to the New York Yankees going out to California to go see the biggest specialist in the world to see if the UCL is okay. We have not reached that level of, oh no, please, we now have to throw away this season in the garbage, okay? But I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm at about a 3.5. And once I read some numbers that Jason Stark and Matt Gell put together in their athletic piece, it'll probably jump and rise maybe to 4, 4.5. In no way, shape, or form is it ever okay to know that they are stopping baseball activity for Bryce Harper, okay? So it hurts me and it hits me a certain type of way, even though he has played through a time where he needed Tommy John and he was still able to rake. There's plenty of examples of him battling through when he's not 100%. But what occurs is it changes the whole entire plan of Dave Dombrowski. Now he has to DH. What happens if he has to DH and can't play first base every single day? Does that mean Alec Boehm has to flip over and play the different side of the diamond? Does that mean to get Kyle Schwarber's bat in the lineup, he has to play more left field, which hurts your defense? And I actually think you have an opportunity to have a stellar defense with Trey Turner improving on that side of the field with the Rojas, Pache, Brandon Marsh concept out in the outfield. So, it bothers me that this is now a talking point when I wanted to start the season off by kicking the testicles of the Atlanta Braves. I want to beat them up so damn bad that they're looking at the scoreboard realizing they have a fat-ass goose egg in the win column before they even get to their second series of the season. All right, especially with Zach Wheeler taking the bump on opening day. I am stunned that they made that move just because it's tradition. Aaron Nola's been here for how long? Aaron Nola's been through the Mike Alfranco and Odubel Herrera times where they were supposed to be the faces of the franchise. Trey Turner, JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola. The list goes on and on and on. And those were the days that Aaron Nola had to jump through all these little situations to become dominant. I mean, think about what he had to deal with. You think over the years of getting the ball on opening day, it's just, man, keep this ride going because you've been through it all. And I guess they had the conversation of, no, Zach, you deserve it. You're the number one guy. I know. Let it rip, baby. It's your time to take the ball. And I love it. So to be able to see that opening day against Atlanta is a beautiful thing. What's not beautiful, though, is the fact that Bryce Harper is not in the lineup in spring training. When they go on a little bit of a bus trip, they return, and you go, all right, well, maybe it had to do with the travel and them going on the road, and then they come back, and some of the guys who were out of the lineup are already back in, except for one, Bryce Harper, and it just, we know he has a violent swing. So he's always going to put pressure on his body because of the ferociousness of how he approaches the batter's box and how badly he wants to smoke one over the fence. But take a listen to these numbers, okay? And keep in mind, I don't live and die by statistics in spring training because I've seen people rip the cover off the ball over a nice sample size in spring, and then as soon as the regular season begins, these guys are absolute bums and don't deserve any playing time whatsoever. So by no means does this automatically mean Bryce Harper won't do well, because even with back stiffness, I think Bryce Harper will do well. It's just about how long until it starts to bother him more, how long until he has to sit for a couple days in the regular season because something's happening and he's getting irritated and he doesn't feel 100%. There's no reason to push it. So they play the precautionary card in the regular season, just like they're doing now in spring training, because they want to get him all the way to October. So when it's the most important time of the season, he's available to rake. So, it's going to impact certain stretches. And what if that stretch happens to be against the Atlanta Braves later on? What if it happens to be against a team in your division like the New York Mets, or even if it's against a different team, I don't know, the Washington National? I have no idea. But it is important to the standings and trying to win a damn division for once. Instead of playing second to the Atlanta Braves, I want to be in position where I can set up my rotation without having to play a 3-game set, even if it's at home and you win the number 1 wild card team. I want to show the world that we are dominant over 162 and not win 90 regular season games. I want it to be 95 plus. Now, I was asked over the weekend on WIP from a caller where I think it lands, and deep down my gut screams probably closer to 90 like last season, and not as much as the Braves, who could win over 100, maybe the 93, 92, 94 win total. But in an ideal world, let's get the 98, all right? And then maybe the Braves win total goes down because some of the Phillies wins that make you jump is against the Braves, and you just keep showing them that they have no chance if we meet in the postseason. I want it to be so bad that they are scared, knowing that they're a good team, but damn it, we got no shot because the Phillies have their hands around our neck no matter what we do. We can show that we could beat other teams by 10 runs. We can do a lot of great things against every team at the top of the National League. Maybe they have a good record against the Dodgers in this hypothetical, and they show great success against any other opponent. The Diamondbacks, even though I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to be very good again, that was just a miracle run more than anything else. But the Phillies, nope, we can't beat them. We got 1 win against them all season long. We got 2 wins against them all season long. I want it to be something like that, all right, just in an ideal world. But maybe you don't get the luxury of it because Bryce Harper goes down, or, they're just playing the precautionary stuff. It just irks me that we're even talking about this. Okay, so let's talk about some spring training numbers, just for example here. Jason Stark says, how many home runs has Harper hit this spring? In 26 plate appearances, that would be none. 0. Take a look at his previous springs. There are decades worth since he arrived in the big leagues on April 28, 2012. He has never had a spring training since in which he hit 0 home runs. During his last spring training in 2022, he hit 8 of them. He is slugging .273. He slugged over 1, a 1.100 in 2022 spring, and he has just 1 extra base hit, a March 8th double. His launch angle this spring is a shocking 1.6 degrees. His lifetime launch angle would be 13.5. So spring training or not, that's a metric that's telling us he's almost never hitting a ball in the air. That is not a partial sample size either. Every game he has played this spring has been at a park that measures the StatCast data. Okay? So he goes on and continues. So what does that tell us? Maybe nothing. Maybe nothing meaningful. He hasn't played a whole lot, but his swing is obviously out of whack at spring training. So maybe this means nothing. I don't know, though. You hear back stiffness, and you also hear this. But I agree with Jason. It doesn't automatically mean that Bryce won't start opening day off with 2 doubles, and one of them being a standard generic hustle double where he's rounding first base, he gets a head first slide to second, his helmet flies off, and his hair is flowing in the wind beautifully with Philly fanatic spikes on. And it's just typical Bryce Harper. Like, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all. But But it's not just about starting opening day, because there's no doubt in my mind, unless anything significant happens from here until opening day, just a couple Thursdays from now, he's going to be in the lineup and he's going to play. But it's how long until he gets his first day off. It's how long until they put him at DH and now they have to make some defensive positions. And it's not as if I don't think that they could win a game with Bryce at DH and Kyle in left field, because, well, quite frankly, we did have to utilize that over the recent times, and they were still one of the best teams in all of the National League, and they weren't very far from making back-to-back World Series runs, and there's no doubt about it. They should have beaten the Arizona Diamondbacks. So, of course, it's not impossible, but I just don't know how we can write it off as, whatever. It's just spring, and they're doing what's right by not applying any sort of pressure to him, and they don't want to make him uncomfortable. So, because of the stiffness, let's just take a few days off, but let's not hit any panic button and just put a smile on our face because opening day's here. I'm having a hard time doing that, and I was finally starting to turn the page and feeling good about Philly sports again, feeling lovely about the Eagles and the Phillies, having fun, and now all of a sudden, I get punched in the testes. Now remember, as gentlemen, if you are a gentleman listening to this show, it does go away eventually, right? It is a brutal, horrible couple of minutes where you lay on the ground and you're sort of rocking back and forth like you're a child, and you're just hoping and praying that it goes away. Sort of like a brain freeze, right? These are all very similar feelings. That's where I'm at right now. I'm in the middle of a thick brain freeze. I'm in the middle of being on the ground hoping that the balls leave my stomach and finally drop once again. And maybe it's short-lived, or maybe this is something that lingers and my brain freeze isn't going away because I'm an idiot and I go right back to the ice cream way too quickly thinking, oh, it's gone, and then it hits me within 3 seconds and I'm an idiot and I don't listen to my body. I don't know where exactly this Bryce Harper experience takes me, but I despise that we're even talking about it. Now, here's a back and forth between Rob Thompson and some of the media that was asking him questions about the current update. And he was asked about being in the lineup, and he said no, he's got a little bit of some back stiffness. Okay. And will this involve no baseball activity? And he said, nope, we are going to do nothing. I don't think. It depends on how he comes in, but he probably won't do anything. So what's your level of concern, Rob? And he hit us with a none. 0. So is this basically the same stuff that's kind of nagged him in the past? Yeah, it's similar, but it's really just stiffness, so I don't have any concern at all. He's going to be ready by opening day. He's going to be playing for sure by the end of this week, so ready to go. Of course, Rob Thompson will take this road. I don't think, even if there was a little bit of a deeper conversation behind closed doors, and maybe if public perception, they want it to be 1 out of 10, they're at about a 1.5 on the concern level, and really behind closed doors, they're at 3. It's not at 8. It's not at 9. So I'd probably imagine it's something like that, knowing how these teams deal with getting in front of it and speaking to the fans and making sure that nobody's jumping off a bridge because, well, let's not do something. So let's not jump off the Phillies cliff because all of a sudden, one guy has some, I don't know, a little discomfort when he wakes up at 30-something years old. But this is also part of our Bryce Harper experience, and he's been able to manage it when he's 28, when he's 29, when he's 30. But this dude is signed for a long time, and now I start to wonder, even though I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I want to appreciate the right now, but what happens when Bryce is 33, 34, 35? And by the way, they're still talking about an extension, and him and Scott Boras want to add more years. That's why I think it's so silly and so foolish to even entertain it, because right now you're having a difficult time due to the way that you play to even do it right now. And think about first base, and he's made some spectacular plays over at first, right? Like, I'm really excited to just picture what he could potentially be over there playing every day if he's capable of doing it. I think he's going to have a stellar glove. I think he's going to make some great plays that obviously Rhys Hoskins would never make, and that's no knock on Rhys, even though that came out way too aggressive, and I didn't mean it to be that way. But he'll make some plays that the top-tier Gold Glove level first baseman make. Going to his left, making a diving play as the ball's going. Is it out? Is it Is it foul? Is it over the first base bag? It's super close, but he snags it. The umpire calls it fair. He steps on the bag, and then they throw it around the horn. But you're telling me if he's got to make that quick initial step, if he has to move his body to one direction or the other, that there's not a problem with your back if you're playing there every single day? And by the way, just the way that we know he is in the batter's box, I don't know. I don't know, but I do know that I'm not feeling good right now at all. But I'm at a 3.5 currently today. Take that for what it is, and we'll move on from there. By the way, I do want to go to the Anytime Hotline, but I want to give a shout out to my man, Rick, who left an Apple Podcast 5-star review. Great energy, bro. It's an insight while covering all 4 Philly franchises. When there are a couple big stories, he will cover them. Smart takes and tremendous fun energy. Keep up the great work with the pod and on WIP. I just want to give you a shout out because over the last few weeks, I've just been letting everybody know that Broads Media is also, and Sports Talk with Broads, of course, is also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcast, and if you go over there and leave a 5-star review and a rating, it would mean the world to me. It really helps push the algorithm and helps sort of send the pod on the audio feeds out there. And look, maybe you want to take me on the road with you. You got a 30 to 45-minute drive, and what's better if maybe you're falling asleep, it's 2 a.m., you didn't have your coffee, I could scream right in your ear for the whole 30 minutes. And I don't think that there's anything better in life than me sitting in your passenger seat while you're on the road. And I'll give you a little shout out. I'll read your ratings as well. So just thank you for all your crazy and wild support. And I just want to plug that, as well as plug in that Coffee with Broads is back. So what you can do starting March 28th, opening day, hopefully Bryce Harper's in the lineup, tongue-in-cheek, of course. If you join the Broads Media YouTube membership here for $4.99 a month, all the information is down below in the description. You will have access to Coffee with Broads twice a week in the morning. Mondays and Thursdays, and it starts Thursday, March 28th, 11 a.m. We'll kick back, we'll go live, we'll hang out with one another and have our coffee together. And you also have access to our Discord channel. That link is in the description as well, where we chill. We talk about things as it happens live, breaking news, and it's a fun chat to be a part of. So can't thank you all enough for everyone who has joined. And if you're looking forward to Coffee with Broads, absolutely make sure you get yourself joined up and ready, because before you know it, opening day will be here. Let's take a look at some of our Anytime Hotline text board text. This is from Brandon. Of course I'm worried about Bryce Harper's back. This guy wants an extension too? Ha 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 ha. I was so excited for opening day, and now I'm worried about how long he can even play before he's going to miss some time, and now he's not playing first base. Something similar to what I was saying here, Brandon. And should I set the over-under on how many games he plays in the field at 25 before he becomes the designated hitter? Oh, all right. Now that's even more negative than me. I'll take the over. You're going with 25? I think if he takes the first run at it, the first crack at it, opening day, and he establishes himself for the first few games of the season and the first few series of the year, then yeah, I mean, come on. I'll take the over on 25. That's funny, though, to pull that out of your ass. Of course, then we can then be excited about Kyle Schwarber back in left field. What a horrible start to my week. Please, no. I guess I do sound that way. See, to me, that sounds harsher than what I've been saying, but maybe I'm naive, and because I'm in the thick of it, I'm not realizing that I sound as brutal and as intense as that. So I apologize if that's the case. But yeah, I mean, there's truth to what he's saying. Maybe the tone of it is a little bit more oomph than I would bring, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I sound even worse than what Brandon said, and then that's outrageous. I want to take a look, though, at some of these games here, because when I mentioned the first couple of series, we all know about starting at home against the Atlanta Braves, but it is a very favorable April so you can get the tone set. I don't want to deal with these slow starts. And the franchise has said everything the right way about there's no World Baseball Classic. Not that they're against the World Baseball Classic because they don't want to step on anybody's toes that finds the passion for it and loves to play it and all. But when you're not in the position to take spring the way that you want to, I'm hearing right now, and I'm reading all the stories from Todd Zalecki, Matt Gelb, Jason Stark, all the great people in this city, Alex Coffey, Scott Lauber, Kyle Schwarber's doing this. Trey Turner's doing that. Nick Castellanos here. Rojas did this to get better. And everyone's improving their craft. And when you're together with the franchise who's the one putting the pieces in place to make sure you're the best you are, you're not dealing with visa issues and trying to come over back to the United States if you're Ranger Suarez. The one thing that's probably not being discussed enough is Taijuan Walker at one point had some discomfort, and it's not good. It's not good. That's not good at all because I need him to pitch better. The weird part is I don't expect him to have as many wins as he had last season, but I do expect him to at least give us a stronger effort, stronger outing, stronger starts to the season. But because of all of these issues that you were dealing with, no Bryce Harper for a long time to start the season too. Remember, there is a way to start off good and strong and to make a statement. Now, we're not playing around this year, and no longer 90 wins. We got 95 plus on the mind. You have another home series against the Reds after that. You play the Nationals, which is a beatable bunch. The Pirates are in April. The Rockies are in April. The White Sox are in April. Cincinnati again is in April. The Angels are in April. Now, there's a few that I skipped just because, tougher opponents, but just the fact that I laid out some of those names in the first month, that's what's important to note. The Padres are in there. There is a Cardinals team. I don't know what the Cardinals are going to be. But, they don't hit me the same way. Maybe. And sure, I'm sure someone's going to say, well, dude, do you pay attention to Cincinnati? Do you see at some of their prospects and who they can bring up and this and that? Stop it. If we're what this team is supposed to be, all right, I don't care who the Cincinnati Reds have. I don't care what the Cincinnati Reds were last year as a team that was 2 games over 500. So they're not a disgusting Orioles teams of the past, but that shouldn't stop you. A 500 baseball team shouldn't be stopping. It's a favorable month and some favorable series lined up. All right, so let's go to Nasir. What's up, Nasir? Hey, bro, saw your question on Twitter, and I don't think it's time to panic yet about Bryce. He probably deals with back injuries. It seems more than we like to even think about, and he's been clutch, and it hasn't stopped him from having the October moments that we crave. Will it be the end of the world if he misses a few series along the way? Or in the middle of the summer if we constantly get the runs that we've been getting? When you say runs, in regards, I'd imagine, to the playoff runs, right? Not the runs from the big boppers and what the lineup can do in theory and the amount of home runs. But I guess it doesn't really matter which way you are referencing it because whether you're getting all those runs or the playoff runs, they sort of coexist, right? So, okay, fair enough. Yes, you're right. You're right, Nasir. Bryce Harper hasn't had a normal spring training in forever since signing that contract here for many different reasons. How long it took him and Manny Machado to figure out what they were going to do. They finally get here. It's a big, huge process of the cameras in your face, the press conferences, then the injuries, then this, then that. It's always something. And we keep having these nice, solid, deep playoff runs. And whether he has one elbow and can't play in the field and has to DH, we keep having these insane playoff runs. So a little bit of back stiffness as we start to prepare for the middle of March, and we're getting ready for opening day, and March Madness is upon us. Let's just relax because they'll probably do what they've done the past few seasons, which is automatically thrive when the playoffs come around because it is a part of their DNA and they know how. Bryson Stott, early in his career, all he knows is postseason runs. Alec Boehm, who's become a tremendous defender, and I hope to see 25-plus home runs this season and more pulling the baseball and just great extension because when he gets a hold of one, it truly is beautiful. All he knows in playoff baseball is deep runs in his young career, and that is tremendous. So take a chill pill. I get that. I do. It's not as if I think you're crazy. Sometimes I come on here and I have a stance and I feel so passionately about it, I can't even see the other side. But that's not this one. I see the other side. For example, and this is now the third time I'm flirting this in here, just because every time I hear it, I cannot believe we live in a world where these athletes make these decisions. That Marcus Stroman of the Yankees doesn't want to pitch opening day. He just doesn't want to pitch opening day. There's no way, shape, or form that you could convince me the other side is correct, that he's right. Oh, it's just 1 of 162. What's the big deal if he starts the season off in Houston playing the Astros, or at home against the Yankees, or at home for the Yankees in Yankee Stadium? It doesn't matter if it's game 1, if it's game 4. It does matter. It does matter, because they are so desperate. They don't have Garrett Cole. Carlos Rodon stinks, or stunk last year, that they don't have faith in him. You don't have any other options. You need him to step in there. And I don't know why I get this pissed off about the Yankees to the point where I bring it up in 3 shows that has nothing to do with Yankees. I'll never talk Yankees in my life, but it's less about the Yankees. It just happens to be about the Yankees player. It's more about this idea that there's somebody out there in Major League Baseball that doesn't respect the honor enough of taking the ball on opening day to do it when your team desperately needs you. And it doesn't even matter if your team desperately needs you. It's something that all pitchers dream of doing and all baseball players dream of doing the first time they lay out their baseball pants. And, you're excited to play. You lay out your glove, your bat, your bag. You put it all out in the garage because you're so stoked when you wake up in the morning. It's your day to take the field again for the first time. And I loved it to death, more so than ever, because hockey was my bread and butter, and that's what I was so dedicated to. I loved it to death. That baseball, I loved it too, but it was almost like a breath of fresh air that I could just have fun. It's not the same level of intensity for hockey, but I still apply my best to it all. But that smell of the grass, seeing the diamond, kicking the dirt, and back in the day when you had maybe the crappy field and then you make the jump up to the bigger field, there's the grass infield, and it makes it feel like you're on the big league level, right? I mean, all that stuff. And it's like, I don't want the ball. Forget it. Screw it. It's not that important to me. That's moronic. So you'll never convince me that it's okay to have that mentality, even if game 1 represents the same thing as a game 4 over 162. When you're 50 games in, does anyone go back? No, but it's not about that. First off, it's about the statement it makes to your locker room. But I guess these athletes don't care anymore. They don't care anymore. But anyway, I just find that hysterical. If that happened here, man, I would take this approach, multiply it by 1 billion, and I'd take it to these airwaves every single day, because it just doesn't resonate with me. I don't get it. All right, Sal texts in here and says, Bryce played with one elbow. I can't rule out any awesome season just because of a tight back this spring. I guess it is a tight back. I probably said tight back. Back stiffness, tight back, all the same stuff. I want everybody to think about that. One elbow is way harder to do than a back, right? It's Bryce fucking Harper. I have full faith. It's probably just as significant, Sal. I'd imagine so, right? Whether you have one elbow or you have no back, I don't know how you succeed if both of those are serious enough. And quite frankly, I mean, I guess I was shown that with one elbow, it is possible. I need to see someone do it without a back, with the way Bryce Harper plays and his violent ability. So I guess I've seen it with the elbow. I've never seen it with the back. If someone has a serious back injury, and he doesn't have that now, but if he continues to play on it, it gets to a point where it is more of a problem. He has to go see a specialist. He's getting his back worked out every single day. And when he wakes up, he's afraid to get out of bed because he doesn't know if it's going to be a good day or a bad day if it ever gets to that point. Because keep in mind, he had one elbow. He needed surgery, right? Like he needed to legitimately not play the field, not throw baseball. He needed surgery. So it worked, and it limited what he could do. But it worked batting, which is crazy to me. It is, but it worked. Can you do that if it gets to the point of equivalency of a Tommy John and an elbow surgery with his back? Probably not. Probably not. And another text here, this individual did not leave their name. Just says, all caps, by the way, Zach Wheeler opening day. It's finally the day I wanted to see. This is how it should always be. Sit down, Aaron Nola. Sit down, Aaron Nola. Why does Aaron Nola get a shot taken from here? If anything, I actually like it. And first off, I don't think he's dumb here. I think he realizes that Zach Wheeler is 1, he's 2. And the fact that, he's done it a bunch of times, and Zach Wheeler gets an opportunity to do it here in a Phillies uniform after what they've been through and what they've been able to do together. He gets it. He got it. So I think we put a little respect on Aaron Nola's name for... And not that it's his decision and he has all the power and he deserves it, because quite frankly, he probably didn't deserve it. Zach Wheeler does deserve it just from the basic understanding of what opening day pitchers truly mean to their staff. But because of what Aaron Nola has been through and because he's done it so many years, it does matter that if he gets to take the ball as the number 1 for the next X amount of years under his contract, it's a pretty cool feature to do. It's a cool thing to check off your checklist when you see all the accolades of Aaron Nola when it's all said and done and he gets to tell his grandkids about what he's been able to do. It's cool. It's cool. But, it's also, hey, Zach, it's your time now. Let's give Aaron Nola a round of applause. What about that, Mr. No Name out here ripping him? I'll leave you on this note. What Bryson Stott said about his daughter was awesome. If you didn't see the clip, my man is basically crying in the dugout when getting interviewed during spring training and getting asked about his daughter. And that stuff used to never relate to me. Oh, now it relates to me big time. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't imagine anything else in my life being as important as Brooklyn is in my life. But I actually want to play it. That's right. I'm now going to play it because it hits me in ways that I can't even explain. All right, ways I can't even explain. Here's Bryson Stott. We'll leave on a feel-good moment after destroying Bryce Harper for some time.
He's 4.5 months now and then staying up longer than 30 minutes, so we're able to hang out with her and then mess around, and she's starting to get her little baby voice, and she loves using it. So she's been great.
All right, you played in the World Series your rookie year. Last year you went to Game 7 at NLCS. Is the best feeling you've ever felt in your life when she squeezed your finger for the first time?
Yeah. Wow. Sorry.
That's cool.
There's no better feeling. So.
That's the damn truth, baby. It's the damn truth. That finger squeeze is something else. All right, everybody. I love you guys to death. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and I will catch you all on the next one.